Hello and welcome to Your Health DeKoded. Are you having trouble sleeping? If yes, this is a show you need to watch. Today, with our incredible doctors, we will try and help you reclaim your nights and transform your days. I'm Manika Raikwar, and we're diving into India's growing sleep crisis and the solutions that can change your life. Today, we have with us Dr. Manvir Bhatia, Director of Neurology, the Sleep Center, and author of the book, The Sleep Solution. And also with us, Dr. Rohin Dubbal, Consultant Neurology, Fortis Hospital, Mumbai. Thank you both for being with us today. Dr. Manvir, if I could begin with you, why is it that Indians are having such trouble sleeping?
So I think the problem is worldwide. We are having additional problems, I guess, because partly a few reasons. Firstly, it's a cultural thing, that I think we do everything very late in India. So if you look at the dinner timings, the coming back from the office, in fact, the children are also following the same routine. So everything moves much later. The socializing is much later. Then we have also a big IT sector here, which is working in different time zones. So people are exposed to zones, globally different time zones. So that's why the whole thing works late.
But it's kind of being seen that Indians in particular, globally, if you look at the scene, we're extremely sleep deprived. So I get that everything starts late and we have a big IT sector, but there are other parts of the world, in many parts of Asia, there are similar issues. But why is it that Indians in particular are getting affected?
So like I said, and also the commuting is much higher. The distances are much longer. Our transport systems are much more a big issue. So those are the major reasons. And I think it's culturally also, if you look at the West, globally, people have an earlier bedtime, they have an earlier dinner time, earlier meeting time. Here, in fact, everything moves later. So that's what I feel. And then we have the additional problems, such as the temperatures. The heat is too much, the noise is too much. So these environmental factors also play a big role. So putting all these together, we are really a sleep deprived nation.
So explain to our viewers a little bit about climate. I'm going to come to noise later, but explain to our viewers, why is it that climate in India, it's hot, humid, in the winter, in some areas it gets extremely cold. How does that affect sleep?
So it's seen that the best sleep we get when in cooler temperatures. So in fact, it's recommended or suggested that the ideal room temperature is anywhere between 16 or 18 to 20 degrees. And as we know that large portions of the year in India, we have a hot climate. So this impairs or interferes with good sleep. So we have difficulty falling asleep, we have difficulty maintaining sleep, because with the heat, the sleep tends to break a lot. This also impairs the melatonin secretion, which is the gland which secretes the chemical, which is a sleep promoting chemical. That creates a lot of problems. So putting all these things together, the hotter the temperature or the warmer the areas, the sleep is definitely more impaired, because body, when it cools down, sleeps a lot better.
That's very interesting. So for all those children who are pushing their parents to say, hame AC on rakhne do, and the parents are saying AC off karo, electricity badega, there's going to be now a whole other argument for I need my sleep and I need my proper sleep. But Dr. Dubbal is also with us now. Dr. Dubbal, tell us, we all speak about being sleep deprived. For a lot of youngsters, it's quite a flex. I just slept for 3 hours, but I'm still operating. But what is that cost of being sleep deprived, especially when it comes to our health? What is that health cost that we pay?
Yeah, hi everyone. So this is a very good question which you asked. See, nowadays the flexing is there, but one should accept that if sleep deprived, you will not be able to have a very good concentration. You will not be able to be productive at your workplace, and it comes at a major workplace productivity, cost of major workplace productivity. They will not be much productive at their work, and there are also, they pose a major risk for road safety, road traffic accidents, and then they will not be able to concentrate. They can tell they have less sleep, but they will not be able to concentrate at their work. They will not be attentive, and even if they are listening also, that whatever they listen will not be consolidated into long term memory. Means they will have a very short attention span, and they will not be able to follow what they are listening.
Right. Dr. Manvir, I wanted to come back to that point that you and I were discussing about climate and noise. You know, to speak about noise in particular, like in cities like New York, etc., it's really noisy, and through the night you can hear sirens, etc. So why is it that particularly in India, where through the nights you're not hearing police sirens, etc., the noise is still a factor, but not so much in the West?
So we have noise. In addition to that, we have the heat and humidity, and we also have the use of digital screens. I think all that put together is creating a problem, just not noise by itself. So studies we have from all over the world about the use of screens, but I think some parts are getting a little wiser, the other countries, that what is the harm and when should screens be you put off. But it's been seen by lots of data in our country. Data shows about 85%, but I feel it's more than 90% people who are still using the screens right before bed, but they're also using screens in the middle of the night. So all these impair sleep quality to quite a big extent.
So middle of the night is that you're sleeping, you get up, you can't, and then you go back on your phone or your
Go back,
iPad.
yes. So 1 hour, 2 hours, people are sitting awake again with that. So that's a major, again, going to affect what is called as a sleep deprivation, sleep quality. So they're going to be tired, not only tired, they're also angry, they're emotionally very fragile, decision making is very poor, risk taking is very high, especially in the adolescents and the younger children.
So, like you said, there have been many studies, and we see every day, sort of headlines and reports about don't use your screen before sleeping or limit it. But just explain to our viewers in a simple way, but I suppose in a way that people understand why time away from
Screens
your
are bad.
screen is really important, and screens are bad.
So screens, actually, let's say divide them into two things that they do. One is they release the blue light. This blue light has been talked about a lot. So what is this blue light? So it has a particular wavelength, and that's how we measure the light. The natural light or the infrared light, ultraviolet, all have some specific wavelengths. This wavelength of this light impairs, again, your melatonin secretion. So the melatonin is the hormone which comes on in darkness and ensures good quality sleep. It has lots of functions, but let's stick to sleep for the time being. So this blue light one, if you use it a lot, you will impair the secretion. So sleep is bound to come late, and when it comes, it will be of poorer quality. But the second thing is even of a bigger thing, is that when you are on the screens, you are scrolling. So in fact, a very interesting word, why is it called doom scrolling? Because you're continuously spending your time on that. You create what is called as an engagement. And when you are engaged with something, we release a lot of chemicals which are alerting and awakening chemicals. So you'll be awake. And then there's a third thing which happens, that you start enjoying what you're doing, and you feel it's like a big reward, and you secrete dopamine. So which again keeps you awake. So we have a lot of patients who say that I am on the screen because I cannot fall asleep. But the thing is, the longer that you stay on the screen, you will not fall asleep. So that's the whole link of this story. So thus came this thing that can they read on a Kindle? And there were recent research has shown and that it's okay. You can read on a Kindle, but not the phone, because phone you get tempted to scroll. So when you scroll, you will create an engagement. So
So,
reading is good, but Kindle is also fine.
Yeah, but so is just the phone or an iPad the problem? What if a person's lying in bed and watching TV? Is that as bad?
So TV is actually considered a little better than the phones, one because of the close proximity and the light that it emits. But TV has its own things. So there is now a concept that if you are using the television for half an hour, 1 hour to watch something to unwind, you can do that, but have a fixed time to shut it off. So if you think it's 10, 9 to 10, 10 to 10:30, you're watching, but obviously if you do binge watching, then again you will impair your sleep. So if some days you get tempted and you watch till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, next night you will not be able to fall asleep at the same time. So it is allowed, permitted. We are not too strict now, in fact, but everything should have a time that it goes off. So if you are on the phone, if you think you want to watch, but 30 to 40 minutes prior to bedtime, these all should be switched off.
And let's say from sort of, when one is a child to adolescents to teenagers, to adults, when would you recommend that, nowadays a lot of sort of 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds are getting phones, teenagers most definitely. Would you want to say something to parents, families that just don't give your child a phone, a smartphone especially?
Yeah, so you're right. There's been a lot of talk about this, and there is research or data or recommendations, guidelines, which have come from the American Academy of Sleep Pediatrics. We have American Academy of Sleep Medicine for saying that, okay, what age, in fact, they have said right up till adolescence, there is no need to give them some smartphones. But if you are worried for safety or security and you feel the child needs to connect with the parents, go back to the simpler phones where they can just call you. And if now there is also a big concern came about this online work that the children have. So, now they are working on a digital platform much more than earlier. The homeworks or projects are all given. So then encourage them to use the laptops or computers, but avoid using the phones as a media for just all their homeworks and all their projects and submissions.
Right. Dr. Dubbal, for people who are already suffering from diseases, let's say somebody has diabetes or a heart problem, explain to us how poor sleep can actually make those conditions worse.
Yeah. See, when we say sleep is affecting an individual, sleep can affect every system in an individual. Like for example, a person who has chronically deprived sleep, he is more prone for all these cardiovascular health diseases. Then he has high BP, he has diabetes, he has obesity, he has depression, he has anxiety. There are so many issues along whenever there is chronic sleep deprivation. But simultaneously, when a person is already having these cardiovascular health diseases or diabetes, in turn, it also can cause sleep deprivation due to medicines or per se major for because of their illnesses. So you should be very careful that you get adequate sleep. And if at all you're not having disease, then there is a high risk that you might develop all these diseases if you are chronically deprived of the sleep.
I also wanted to ask both of you, we talk about sleep and sort of healthy sleep, but we can't really get away from a lot of job profiles that require people to work either nights or in shifts. Now, what would you recommend to those people to maintain healthy sleep patterns? Those, somebody who has a night shift or has a late night shift or even an early morning, some people work from 3 in the morning or whatever, in hospitals, for instance. So even doctors and nurses, so how do they maintain a healthy sleeping pattern?
So, firstly, there are two types of these shifts. There are some shifts which are moving, like, some days they are night, some days they are afternoon, some days they are evening. But there is another group of people who are doing continuous nights for months and years. So let's take the example of the first ones, the ones there is a shift movement, let's say. So first, There are again rules and guidelines on how frequently should the shift be changed and what should be the time lag between changing of one shift to another shift. So we give the body time to adapt between the shifts. And if you change it like every 2-3 days, the body is not going to adapt. You will create a lot of inconvenience with all the systems in the body. So coming to this, that yes, even if you have like say 1 week of night and then you have an evening and morning, you have to try and make sure that you consistently maintain a routine. So if it is like a 3 a.m. to a 10 a.m. shift, then you have to come back, freshen up, try and get some adequate amount of sleep. But before that 3 a.m. part, you can't keep lying in bed till 12 o'clock at night and say, okay, now I'll get up and get ready and go for work. So you have to fit your sleep, food habits, and you have to fit your exercise time, some walking, some etc. So same thing, people who are doing continuous nights, what they do is they come back in the morning, then they're in the bed the whole day long. And then they get ready and they go again for their shift at night. So we have to ensure the timings of food, the timings of exercise have all to be in good timings. Secondly is that when you are ending the shift and the next time is going to be a sleep time, make sure about your caffeine intake. You cannot take a cup of coffee at 5 a.m. and hope that I'll go home and sleep at 7 a.m. So these are some of the things that have to be kept in mind. At the time that you are not on duty, what do I do with my day? And the time that I am on duty, when should I take my caffeine and when should my meal timings be? Because the shift work actually has led to major health issues because of this mismanagement of the timing. There's obesity, there is diabetes, there is an increased risk of smoking, substance, alcohol, because they are working against the body routine, but it should be maintained in this way.
Right. I also want to discuss something that's growing in India, which, we probably hadn't heard 5-10 years back, is called sleep apnea. And now you kind of hear people buying these machines. So speak to us about that. What is sleep apnea? Who suffers from it? And what can be done about it?
So, sleep apnea is a condition in which the breathing passage tends to get narrow or blocked. So, I'll show it in this model that this is the nose part, this is the breathing, this is the mouth, and this is the breathing passage. So, normally this is an open passage, and you breathe in and you breathe out, there is no sound. Snoring is a sound produced when this breathing passage is narrow, and then if this breathing passage totally gets occluded, that's called as an apnea. Apnea means a pause in the breathing. So these pauses can occur multiple times at night, from even 10 times. We call it, normally we measure it per hour of sleep. So it can be 10, 20, 30, 40. We've seen 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 times per hour of sleep. Results in oxygen dropping. So decreased oxygen in the body also produces stress for the brain and the body. It's a risk for heart diseases, brain strokes, memory. Now we know it's a risk for dementia, metabolic problems, obesity. So that's what sleep apnea can do.
But why does it happen as one ages? Whether it's snoring or sleep apnea, all of it sort of, is really not seen in youngsters. So what is it that the body goes through that narrows this passage as we age?
So couple of things. So firstly, it does occur in children, but we have another cause. So what happens with age is there are these muscles in the airway which keep this airway open. Now at night, there is a natural tendency for these muscles to become more lax. And particularly in men around 40s, these muscles are more lax. And other thing which affects it is body weight, habits such as alcohol, smoking, they make it more lax, and chances of getting a sleep apnea become higher. Women post-menopausal are at the same risk, but till the time there is the hormones, then they are protected. So that is why it is worsening with age, but it also worsens, like I said, with the habits and with weight gain.
Right. Dr. Dubbal, tell me, apart from sleep apnea, another thing that's troubling a lot of people now are sort of just having extremely intense dreams. Like there is a lot of talk about not nightmares as such, but people are almost like, I, I felt I was thinking through the night. I could sort of, even when I was sleeping, it was like I was awake. So what is that? What is the brain going through, or what are people going through, and what is leading to this?
Should all know that dreams are a natural part of the sleep. Okay, dreams occur throughout the sleep. More often, there are two stages of sleep, which we call it as non-rapid eye movement sleep, and there is rapid eye movement sleep. Dreams occur throughout the sleep, but the thing is, we don't remember all the dreams whichever occur throughout the sleep. So one very important part of our sleep is rapid eye movement sleep, which we consider it as a deep sleep. So what happens here is whenever we go into rapid eye movement sleep, that is a deep sleep, we tend to have more dreams. And but during this deep sleep, our muscles will not be in a function. So whatever dreams we are seeing, we are just experiencing it. It may be black and white. Sometimes it might be in a colorful situation. But why people do remember dreams? It happens when there is a very so much of physical exertion. They have a lot of anxiety, they have a lot of stress in their professional life, work life. They are not able to handle things according to what they had to handle. Maybe they had a chronic deprived sleep through for which they are going through all these problems, and they experience that sort of thing. Basically, when the person is telling you that I'm experiencing a lot of dreams, I'm not able to sleep, basically he is experiencing not a good quality of sleep. By good quality of sleep, what I mean, that means that he has more than less than two instances should be there in night awakening. And if a person awakens during the night, he should be able to go back to sleep within 20 minutes. This we call it as a very good sleep quality. In people who have these constant dreams and all, and the poor quality of sleep for a long time, these problems remain, and they tend to tell you, ki, I remember I didn't have a very good sleep and I had a lot of dreams like that.
Right. So, as we wrap this up, my final question to both of you, Dr. Manvir, first to you, if you were to give our viewers 3 tips for a good sleep, or you were to tell parents in a home that, create conducive conditions so that, everyone in the family can sleep better, what would they be?
So, firstly, I agree that we always say that this poor sleep in one member of the family disrupts the sleep in the whole family. So, what I like to focus on is that to understand or get a good night, we should focus on the day. Right from the moment that you wake up and your whole day. So, in short, make sure that your day is also has a very good routine. Your routine for your food habits, for your exercise, for your caffeine intake, so that it will affect the night. Second thing is, keep a consistent bedtime and a wake up time. I'm seeing the problem very often that people are fluctuating the bedtime and wake up time from weekdays to weekends to holidays to no holidays. This is including children, parents, everybody. So then the body doesn't know that today is a Monday or today is a Friday. So if you slept at 5 a.m. on a Friday and a Saturday and woke up at noon, your body does not understand that on Monday you want to sleep at 12. You will again sleep at 5. So this is consistency is the key. A very good routine during the day. And yes, third is the environment or your room. So the room, we've talked about the light, what I do last. Please keep what is called as a winding down period. We need the brain to calm down. We cannot put off the light and the screen and then just go off to sleep and then get disturbed if my sleep is not coming. So I think just focus on those 2-3 things. The sleep we should not be in a position that we are relearning how to sleep. We were born with this natural ability. We should continue to learn to be able to sleep well. We've just kind of dislodged it by our habits, and it will come back. But the more we fret about it, the more it's going to run away.
Dr. Dubbal, if a patient comes to you and says, okay, I'm going to try and do everything that Dr. Manvir said, but I still need something. So, a lot of people now talk about green teas or chamomile tea, or, there is now something, in the market which says, will give you good sleep, or melatonin. If people have to go that route, what would you recommend in place of actually sleep tablets or something? What is safer?
Yeah. See, when we say somebody has a sleeping problem, it is not a single, it is not a simple thing that it is not a simple problem, what I say. Because sleep problems can be related to so many things which they have to consult and they have to get evaluated. See, most of the times what happens is their lifestyle will be so much disrupted, and they will be having so much activities which are involved, and they're like, we have been discussing screen time. There are multiple studies which they say that the average screen time of an individual now currently is more than 7 to 8 hours. Means we are constantly spending so much time on the screen. So what happens is, ultimately, to get a good sleep, maintaining a good sleep hygiene is very important. Apart from what ma'am explained, that your day should also be well, and your sleeping hygiene should be improved. So by sleep hygiene, what I mean, so sleep hygiene means the things which has to be done during sleep time that are very important. For example, if you are sleeping in a particular bed, that bed should be only for the sleep and not for anything else, apart from using these mobiles or TV. So you should avoid using mobiles or TV, seeing TV once you are on the bed. Another important thing is, you should avoid physical exertion during 1 to 2 hours before the sleep. Avoid caffeine intake, avoid smoking. Like caffeine or smoking, both releases dopamine, and dopamine will delay your sleep. And ultimately, if you're following this, even if you get sleep, don't get sleep, be on bed in a quiet room, dark room. Dark room is very important. When you're getting exposed to light will delay your sleep. This is very important, because see, most of the times what happens is, we tell them, okay, you should improve your sleep hygiene, but then they don't know what is sleep hygiene. So when we don't know sleep hygiene, we tend to make mistakes. So basically, educating a person what is sleep hygiene is very important. But if with sleep hygiene also he is not improving, there are definitely some medications which are never to be taken over counter. Definitely they can consult a sleep specialist or a neurologist, and then we can give. So if you ask me medicines, see, I can tell you medicines like melatonin and all we prescribe. But if those medicines, if we tell ki at this dosage is to be taken, people without evaluation, they will just go to the medical shop and they will just take over the counter medicines. So I think that medications are there for sleep, but then we will decide based on their symptoms, based on their history, what medicine will best fit them, and definitely we can help them to have a good sleep.
Right. Dr. Manvir, before I let you go, this is something everyone is always asking me, and I said, I must ask you this. Are there any good bedtime postures? I mean, do we lie straight? Do we take a pillow? Do we sleep on our left? Do we sleep on our right? What is a good way to sleep, to get good sleep?
Yeah, this is, I think, a big talked about thing. See, firstly, people are asking about this. Let's start with this pillow. There are numerous types of pillows, the foam has changed, the size, the shape, the snoring pillow, this pillow. I think what we just want to say, that whatever makes you comfortable. So but simple logic is that you support your neck and the back kind of in one line. But some people who feel that the pillow bothers them, they can take a thin pillow. So that far as the pillow thing. The mattress is again another thing which is talked about. Should it be soft? Should it be medium? Should it be hard? It's again what your body posture should be aligned and comfortable with. If you feel I'm sinking too deep into it, then you need a little medium one. I think what you're used to, like the Western countries have very soft mattresses. In India, people usually prefer medium to hard. If you have a back issue, particularly, stick to a medium to hard. Coming to the posture. So posture actually, especially when we were talking about this sleep apnea, everybody has some disposition to develop that the muscles will go lax and you will get some narrowing of the airway. But if you sleep on the side, you will tend to open the airway. And if you keep a little head end elevated, it will be better. So especially those who are snorers, they are forever asking for tips. So a little higher pillow and sleeping on any side would help with the posture. So, or with the sleep, sorry, for the snoring. Similarly for the posture, if you sleep on one side, it's usually more beneficial. Sleeping on your stomach or sleeping in the prone position is sometimes a little risky because, suppose you throw up something or you regurgitate, you can aspirate. Sleeping on your back, I mentioned, it's again a little that in case you are tending to have some little choking, you might have it a little more. So that's as far as what we know about the postures scientifically. Sleep on any one side. If you're snoring, keep a little higher pillow. Other thing is the meal time. We've discussed screen time, caffeine, meal time. So the last meal should definitely be at least 2 hours prior to bedtime. A very heavy meal late at night and lying supine, you can have regurgitation. And also it will interfere with your sleep quality. So those are the things I think one has to take care of to ensure good sleep.
Right. Thank you both so much. I think this is going to really, really help our viewers, especially those who are having trouble sleeping. I hope these tips help them sleep better. Thank you again. This is all that we have this week on Your Health Decoded. See you next week.